in the family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there.
Let's talk about Skull and Bones. Full of dead man's bones. What does that mean? Inside and the outside, it's like the cup, it's all great and everything. It's fancy. But on the inside of that cup, it's full of dead man's bones. So in the Bible, bones also go up to heaven. There's scripture in there about, don't leave my bones in Egypt. Was it Joseph said that? Jacob, Joseph. Don't leave my bones in Egypt. So don't leave them down here in this hell pit that we live in. And so the skull and bones themselves, here's my interpretation. Do I know for sure? No, I can never be sure. But I'm sure I could be right. On earth, when you're in the flesh, you can leave your first estate if you choose to. You can die in Satan. I think you can even go hang yourself. Or what happened to Judas when he hung himself? Did he really hang himself, literally? And it said he went back to his place. So if Judas hung himself and he was on earth, and then he was on earth and then he hung himself, spilled his guts, and went back to his place, where is his place? It didn't say he went to hell. It didn't say he went to heaven. It just said back to his place. Isn't that suicide? Doesn't that mean that he would go to hell for that? Or did he just go back to his place? I don't know. Again, just questions. I have a lot of questions because I know that the skull and bones have all the answers. Why do you seek from the dead? Why don't you ask your God? Matthew. Well, because the dead already know the truth. Because they already died. They know what happens to you when you die. What about the angels in heaven? What about the bones that get taken up when you die instead of staying here in Egypt? What happens with those bones? What exactly happens with your bones when you die? And then, not only that, your flesh itself. So the kingdom of heaven cannot inherit flesh and blood. It can inherit bones, just not flesh and not blood. So that tells me that when you go to heaven, not only is it a once your body dies out, you instantly, once you're absent from the body, you're present with the Lord. So, but if you don't die because you died in Satan down here and switched your first estate, maybe that's why the trap from the skull and bones is they know that when you die, you go back to God. You know why? Because you're out of the flesh and you can't sin anymore. And this was a military boot camp, beginning stages of life. This is what we got to go through. We're not told the truth. We all might think different things that happens when you die. But the Skull and Bones knows the truth. They know exactly what happens when you die. They know exactly where you go. And they know that if you stay alive in their system, Skull and Bones, you stay here on Earth. And you never get to go to heaven. Because you're still alive, even though you're dead. You're dead in spirit. You've been lied to about everything, so you don't know the truth. And so when you die in the Lord, that's when your bones gets taken up to the next level. I look at it as in the games, in the video games that are played, there's games that have different levels that you go to. If you succeed in the first trial of the game, you either die, you know, or you live and you continue on, you go to the next level. Or you die and you have to start over. So look at life as a video game, because it is, and look at it as if you die in this system here without making it to the next level, you're just going to repeat round one. Or you don't know the truth, you stay here, you get sucked into the Skull and Bones system, and you don't die anymore because your skin is replaced with, I don't know, like synthetic skin it's identical to his flesh, but you don't feel any pain anymore because that type of skin doesn't have any pain. You still have your pleasure because it's a big tree house, because your body's still a tree house. It's a bird cage. But with the Skull and Bones, it's I mean, I don't know how all that works, but the way I'm perceiving it is that there's a large vision for you, that's large, that you can see for your vision. It's a tree house. It's just one big delusion with the host body, because you get suits of skin like Adam and Eve did. That's why they were naked. I don't know if they were bones from before. One of Adam's bones was taken from him, a rib, a bone, and then Eve was made from that. But Adam and Eve being clothed with suits of skin as they were naked, who told them that they were naked? Well, the devil did. Genesis 3:2-2, and then Genesis 3:23. That guy's getting ready to find out what it's like to be laying on a table with his skull and his bones and his skin stripped off, if he keeps driving like that. Now, I also believe that when people die and they have open caskets, I believe there's a strong likelihood that that's not even them. It's just a cast. It's a mold of them. And their body has already been cannibalized. Everybody that dies, what happens to your flesh? What happens to your liver, your guts, your everything? What happens to your heart? Well, we can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. And considering that nothing is wasted on earth, you can say, well, they take it as donors. Maybe. But they could also just mix it in with ground meat, and we would never know. What do we know? What do we know what we're eating? We don't. But it's like, this is yummy. Only if you knew. Only if you knew. Skull and Bones. What's the big secret? Skull and Bones Society. Let me take some guesses. I think, here's what I guess, I would take guesses. One of my guesses is that when you're part of the Skull and Bones organization, the top tier people, you get to go from person to person to person. You get to, like, you can be George Bush, or you can be Abraham Lincoln from a long time ago. Then you can be Barack Obama today. And the bones of that person, the spirit, the soul of whoever's under that suit, there's a skeleton that can literally walk around without any skin on. And if you've seen skeletons walking around on Earth with no skin on, we would probably be frightened. Like, you might be frightened to death. Or if you've seen the reptilians walking the Earth without their skin suit on, same thing. Or the aliens themselves. That's why the common denominator is flesh. Who's the anointed cherub that covers? Well, Lucifer covers. One of the ways he can cover you is with flesh through the Skull and Bones organization. I don't know if you can get like a... yeah, I mean, I guess you can. If your arm offends you, cut it off. If the secret Masonic handshake is the same thing that Let It Linger, or no, Maisie Star. If I find the last 3 times that I drove in this area, last 3 out of 5, I would say there was 3 times there was a car, this time as a motorcycle, zooming right by, really close, fast, and loud. It happens right at the same, turning this area. But it was the song Maisie Star, I Want to Hold the Hand Inside You. So I guess she wants to do the secret Masonic handshake. Remember that one video that Clegg was doing when he was ringing the bell at 2:26 on 3/16/2020? It looked like he had a hand in his right hand pocket. It's unusual looking. Not sure how all that worked. I don't know. Maybe what you can do is, here's the one way that I've seen it, even if it was just a sci-fi movie, Skull and Bones being mixed with AI, would be this. You have your regular, let's say you're 6 foot tall. You can get adjustments in your wrist that can extend like 6 more inches. You can get feet, or you can get your ankles where they can extend or let's just say whatever. You can go from 5 foot to 7 foot. How's that? There's like a 2 foot extension from your ankles that would make you taller. And depending on what kind of skin suit you put on, look at the sex dolls. They look like they're real people, right? I don't know what the skin feels like. I never bought one, but I've seen it. And I'll just assume that it feels real enough, but not as real as the final, you know, skull and bones flesh suit that skeletons put on. After they die, they get reskinned, and Lucifer is their daddy. So he's the one that covers them with skin. But in the meantime, they can basically like cut your foot off, cut your arm off, and then add, you know, saw it off and surgically add titanium extended, you know, push button remote control type of extensions to make you taller, make you shorter. And then what you can do is you can go from 6'8" and be a LeBron James and put on that suit. And then when you're done and you're doing your other portion, your other character, you're this little 5 foot tall white girl, petite and tiny, because each, you know, skeletons, the bones aren't like really that thick, so whatever, bones are bones. You can put on any kind of a suit once you've been skinned, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You can put on any type of, you can be black, you can be white, you can be Chinese, you can be what you want, but you have to swear secrecy. You can't tell people that when you die, you go to heaven, because this is just the beginning of your entire life that Satan gets you. So Satan only has you for your entire life in the flesh, and then when you're done, you go to God for an eternity. It's like a boot camp, scared straight program before you go up. That's why everybody, you know, that's why the YouTubers are all happy and excited, because they already know the truth, and they don't live in the flesh anymore. They're not even tired. They don't sleep. That's why they can get so much work done in deceiving people, because there's so many characters. They just hop into different suits. Now, I don't know how you get in the suit. I don't know if you have to stay in the suit for another lifetime or an agreed term until, like, let's say you're Prince. All right, so you're going to be Prince until the script is that you get killed for talking about chemtrails. Okay, Richie from Boston's still alive, right? So the script is you stay in that suit, but I would just assume that, remember, I'm taking guesses and assumptions because I really don't know. I can never be sure, but I can be sure that I could be right. I'm pretty sure I could be right, but I never could be sure. Your suits. What was I going to say? I don't remember. But it has something to do with skull and bones, and how the one of the big secrets is not only are we in hell already, because hell, this is a place for Satan and his demons, and we weren't even supposed to be here. Somehow we got taken from heaven because the angels in heaven came down, and then they decided to have sex with these women down here, the parthenogenesis women, and have children. So the children that were born down here, they don't know that they're stuck in hell. They don't know that this is hell. They don't know, because they're told hell is some kind of place that you burn for, you know, you burn, and if you don't do this and that and the other thing, it's, you don't go to church, you don't praise the Lord, if you don't know Jesus, you're going to be burning in hell. Well, I've always said, what about the people in poor countries that never get to hear anything about Jesus, and they have the law of God written on their hearts? What about them? What about when Greg Laurie talks about how you're going to see your loved ones in heaven, but he also says who believe in Christ? Now, how are you going to see your loved ones in heaven? Because not everybody believes in Christ. Am I going to see anybody in my family in heaven? Am I going to see my stepmom in heaven, Karen? Or is she going to continue and fight through this chemo and make it through? To see a good 10, 15, 20 more years of healthiness? Or is she going to you, God? Because either way, I'll see her again. I'll see everybody whenever you leave this earth. I'll see you later. Because this is what God is. God is very merciful. Because considering that this is already hell on earth, where you're at right now, it's not so bad, is it? I mean, if you're born into a family that's, you know, better off, and you live a proper life, you're raised where you're going to be financially stable, and you can live a great life. You can enjoy yourself. You can have nice things and go to the beach and stuff like that. But what about the people that are severely demonically possessed? Does that demon leave them when they leave the flesh? Because we're trapped in a body, a good angel and a bad angel, because the flesh is the devil. And then the angel, because all sparks of life is considered God's angels. The sheep, dead sheep. The serpents love to kill the sheep. So how do you kill the sheep? You get them to invert into a body. You'll never be able to have kids that way. So it's one way to never reproduce. But God's angels, because nobody knows what it's like to die except for the ones that died in skulls and bones. Even the ones that went up, the angels that came down from heaven, that means you already know what it's like to die. You're up in heaven. You still have free will. So he's decided to come down here, and maybe, just maybe, the fallen angels, along with the Skull and Bones Corporation, they already know what it's like when you die. So what they do is they try to play God. So they act like they're gods, because they already know that you go up when you die. It's just on earth. You're bound here. You're a slave to the system, and you're lied to about everything. So can you imagine if you truly, truly knew that you were going to see all the people that you love who died before you in the next level? Wouldn't that be way more comforting to know that? To see a video of them in heaven right now where they can communicate to you. Like, look, I'm up here. I don't know what you're all worried about. I feel sorry for all of you who are still stuck in the flesh. You wait till you get up here, man, you are not going to believe it. So that's how, if that was the case, you would know. Because it's like this. I already talked to those people that live in heaven, that came from heaven. Whether you're up there now or you're down here, I've clearly communicated with you people who already died. Or the ones that never died. Or the ones that were born in heaven, and you still have way of communication through here because you have a YouTube channel. It looks like you're on earth, but you're really not. You're up in heaven because you have like a, as it is in heaven, so shall be on earth, as above, so below. You have a realm that's up there that looks like down here, but you also have, you know, like absolute perfection up there. You don't have any Priuses. You don't have any, you know, Toyota Camrys or anything. They're all Lamborghinis, Ferraris. Everything's perfect up there. The flesh suits that you get, absolutely perfect. Flawless. If it is female or if it's male or if it's neither or, the bodies are absolutely perfect, and that's what the Skull and Bones doesn't want you to know. So they have you living in fear your entire life while you're on earth, worrying about what's going to happen to you when you die, living stressful, sucking the life energy out of you, because it's about receiving that energy too that they feed off of. The demons inside of these people feed off of your energy. And so they don't tell you the truth. Therefore, you don't really know. And it's going to be a lot harder on you when you lose somebody that you love. Because what do you really know? You don't know anything besides living here for the first time ever. And you may say, I believe in heaven, and yeah, I'm going to go to heaven, but you don't really, truly know for sure. I mean, you're sure you could be right, but how can you really tell unless you talk to those people that are already, like Matthew, I'm already going to heaven, Robin. I'm already going to heaven. Wow. Really? You? If you're going to heaven already, we are all set. Because you said we're all going to hell. You meant we're already here. That's you. It's like Matthew was talking about a future event in the past with that video, talking to the people in the future that are probably weren't even alive yet. We're all going to hell. So the Skull and Bones, the body itself, I would just assume that it's Lucifer knows exactly what it's like in heaven because that's where he came from. He came down here, so he lives here on earth in a flesh suit. He can parade around as, man, that's dangerous, just walking on the street like that with your two kids. He can walk around, he can be the most beautiful female you've ever seen in your entire life, in the greatest shape, and he can also switch up and hop into his most handsome fella, most built, perfect body male on earth as well, because he's the one that creates the flesh. He's the one that suits you up in the flesh suits. And so what he does is he offers the same, like what bodies are in heaven. It's like every body is a treehouse, but in heaven you don't have to swear to secrecy anymore. Everything's out in the open. On earth, with Satan ruling it, then you still have to swear your allegiance to him, and your secrecy. So you're always going to be controlled. But, you know, you get your treehouse, you get your body, you get your Statue of Liberty, and you get to go from male to female. I would just assume that when kids are made in a lab, they put them when they're created in a lab, I don't know if it's actual sperm itself or it's made up somehow, but in order to grow them, like on a farm, you don't need a female. You just need a womb simulation, so you're able to have some kind of football coating, like the rubber air inflated thing on the inside, and some kind of liquid that preserves the seed in order for it to grow. And then so that would be the thing implanted inside of a man's body, where it inflates when the baby grows more, and then when it's not, it deflates, just like a regular female's body. So then you can have your own little, like Christopher Green child. You can have your own child. But I don't know what the children, how they come out. I don't know how that works. Are they male or female? I guess it would be it's like making hoods. You create a certain style hood and then you mold it, and then all the ones that are produced after that comes from that mold. It's the same one. So it's like the DNA mixture makes it. So that's my theory on that, where the men can become females, or it's the other way around, where the female becomes male, and then you know, the old saying, "Go F yourself." Literally, that's how the female would get pregnant, because the serpent beguiled Eve. And she said that the fruit was tasty and it was pleasant to her eye. So there. And Adam did eat of it. And speaking of Adam and Eve, they had suits of skin. So I'm wondering, did Adam and Eve, were they like created as just skeletons? Lucifer came by and was like, "Hey, let's put some skin on you." I don't know. So the big secret would be that the Skull and Bones secret society with the Masons has this secret that they already know what it's like to die. And they know exactly where you go, unless you agree to die early instead of, you know, just letting your natural state take over, dying in your flesh. Then you're stuck here. But I always consider this is just a matrix system, and when everybody dies, they just get unplugged, and your conscience just goes to another level. And all the skulls and bones and all that nonsense doesn't even make a difference. But because everything is in spirit and it's literally fulfilled, it's like it happens both ways. So the men turning to females, and then and then you can go and you have your little YouTube channel, and then you hop on, and then you're Tucker Carlson on this day, and then you hop over here, and then you're Jonathan Kleck on the Jonathan Kleck channel, and then if you go to Stephen James over there, and then, or you hop into Jacob Israel's suit, or you go over to Joe Biden, you're him. You're this old man, you're a young man, then you're this female, you hop in your female suit. And then also, I would just assume that you get like a new voice box. That way you can change your voice, and this would be tied in with the alien technology. And the sci-fi movie script would be that these people dying and they meet the Grim Reaper. Maybe they have a 3-day process of being threatened to burn in hell, and they're like, all right, I'll do it. And then they get tricked by Satan to stay here. But they get like a voice box added to them, and they can go from male to female. They can have any type of voice. You can be the best singer. Lucifer offers you everything that you could ever dream of on earth. You just have to bow down to him. And then in the end, he bows down to Christ. In the end, he turns back to his Father in heaven and says, fine, Father, fine. Your way's better. I did it my way. But in the end, it's all vain and vanity. It's all in vain. So is that the secret? What am I gonna get? What are you gonna do? Buy me a beer for knowing the Mason secret? I did that video about 5 years ago. Like, what are the Masons gonna do for me for knowing their script? Buy me a beer? Because that's what the one guy said he would do if somebody knew their secret handshake. The guy's like, what would you do if I knew the secret handshake and I wasn't part of the organization? Would you kill me? He's like, I'm gonna go buy you a beer. Because he's like, nobody knows the secret handshake unless you're part of us. And ain't nobody gonna say shit about it. Because everybody swears to secrecy and nobody speaks. Unless you're Jonathan Kleck and you're the ruler of the secret society and you had enough of the entire shenanigans of the way that you used to live your life. And like New Jerusalem, speak kindly to New Jerusalem because she has been forgiven of all of her sins, so she's gotten the double portion. That reminds me of Elisha. So the leader of the corporation, which I believe to be Jonathan Kleck, of the Skull and Bones secret society, as the deputy, would be the only one that could possibly say anything about the corporation that is the corporation, because it's time to change all those things. I'm the only other one that can say anything about the secret organization, because the ruler of the organization knows that I am not from the organization. But with him teaching me about the secret organization, I'm able to speak the things that are true, even though I have zero evidence because I've never been a part of any organization. But I've learned how to be a fly on the wall. I've learned how to pick locks and doors, and this train is going to stop right directly on the tracks, because that's how things work around here. So there you have it. I'm the only other one that can say anything, because I can get away with it, because everybody's busted, because your boss is the one ratting out the system. It's the only way Jonathan Kleck would still be alive right now. Unless he's Jesus Christ himself, then that would make him also have the authority to say anything against the corporation. But Skull and Bones 322, 2023 and 2024. Me and Jacob Israel.